Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome back to DCTV. I'm your host, Drew Collins, with my co-host, Courtney. Welcome back to the channel. We are now, what is it, week 7 now? I just feel like we're almost in this, almost in week 8 now of the season. This is getting pretty crazy. You see our picks, full transparency on the show, 61-32 on the year for me, 55-38 for Courtney. Not too shabby for our first time doing this. Make sure to leave a like on the stream. Share it to your friends and family, and hit the subscribe button. Follow us on our socials. We've been trying to get better at posting these clips online. We basically just chop them up, short and sweet, or chop them up short and sweet, so you can see our reactions and if we were right or wrong. Courtney had a absolute banger of a pick with the Jets. So props to her on that. That was a really fun game to see, and she ended up getting right. So it's always fun to see these dogs come in and win. So I was 10-5 last week. You were 9-6. Is that right?
Yeah. Yep.
We'll do a quick review of last week, and then we're gonna hop right onto the predictions for this week. Biggest takeaways was, what was the game we switched, or you made me switch and I ended up, which game was it?
The Lions game.
Yes. So we were both on the Buccaneers, and Courtney has been trying to claw her way into the first position. And so she was like, no, you cannot pick the Bucs. You have to take the Lions. I was like, I really don't want to, but if you're going to force me, let's do it. And then the Lions end up winning. So shout out to you, Courtney. I thought the Bucs were going to come out and win that one, but if I can recall, I don't remember. I didn't watch every snap of that game. I don't think the Lions really had any issue getting that job done. I'm pretty sure it was one-sided for the most part. I don't really remember watching the game, but shout out to Courtney on that one. Made me switch to Lions, and it ended up being the reason why I'm ahead of you. Furthermore,
yeah, that makes me sick. Makes me sick to my stomach, but it's okay. It's okay.
The Raiders got me a W with them. 49ers, upset with the Browns. That was really hard to watch, and I'm not one to complain about the refs, but boy, oh boy. I mean, there was a couple calls at the end of the game where I was just like, they are giving this one to the Browns here. But that was a big L. That was a high confidence pick for me. Vikings did the thing. Bengals did the thing. Jaguars got it done. Commanders Falcons was interesting. I was rocking with the Falcons and the Commanders. I think I haven't picked the Commanders game right this year. I'm pretty sure part of my 32 losses is either, choosing the Commanders when they lose or fading them when they win. So I got to figure that out. The Ravens-Titans game, interesting to see the Ravens. They got a pretty good game coming up this week. We'll talk about that. The Chiefs-Broncos games on Thursday night. I mean, these primetime games are they getting worse and worse by the week? I mean, they're really bad, some of these primetime games. It's super upsetting that they can't do like late flexes to change. I don't know. I mean, please, no more New York. No more New York games, please.
Okay, yeah. So I looked up like how many. So we're through week 7. 4 of the weeks have had a New York football being prime time. 4 weeks. And I'm just like, bro. I think
it's just ridiculous. I understand with a healthy Rodgers. Trust me, I would love to see that Jets team. That would have been so exciting to watch. But can we not do some flexing? Within 2 weeks or so of games coming up. Come on, NFL. Like, I don't know. These primetime games have just been stressing me out. Shout to Dylan in chat here early. Hey, Dylan was with the Lions. I hope you held steady, Drew. I did. I rode with them, and it ended up being a good pick. So, shout to Dylan in chat. Other than that, Bills, that game was interesting. The Giants, they didn't look bad. Daniel Jones, a returning Saquon Barkley, who, probably wasn't 100%, but, had a couple big runs. That was an interesting game that the Bills were able to stay in. And then in Cowboys-Chargers, classic Chargers game. I mean, I rode with the Chargers. Cowboys got it done. I don't think there's any other notes for you this last week?
The Cowboys-Chargers, I didn't want to pick the Cowboys, but I'm glad I did because they won. But I will say that Bills-Giants game, I saw someone, I can't remember who it was on Twitter, but they were like, I think it was on the Pat McAfee show. They said, I think that pass interference calls should be reviewable. I agree, because that last that last play, I 100% was pass interference, I thought, but I think the refs are like, let's just get out of here. Let's just pack up, go home. And that was unfortunate because I think whatever. It's not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things, but that definitely was pass interference call that they missed. I was very
You mean in the end zone, right? When he was thrown to
yes.
was it
Yeah.
Waller?
Yes, because he was grabbing his jersey, so he couldn't even like
Yeah.
lift up it. Yep.
And I
But
saw people were, they were retweeting or they were like quote tweeting and they're like, oh, this is Kelsey and the Chiefs, they're getting this call, 10 times out of 10 times, which I do have to agree with, right? Like, I don't know about you, but I mean, if Taylor Swift is in the wait, we don't say her name. If she is in the building and it's the Chiefs and that is Travis Kelsey, he is getting that flag, right? Like,
but I will say, in terms of missed calls over the weekend, like the one that I got so upset by was the 49ers and Browns. I mean, unbelievable stuff. Unbelievable. Like, I was infuriated, and I actually think I even tweeted, shout out Cleveland for taking the place of the Steelers since we're on a bye week, because normally that's what I'm infuriated about on a Sunday is the Steelers offense. But nope. The Browns took care of that. Yeah, I mean, I said this last week. I said it's going to be the worst day of my life if the Browns beat the 49ers somehow, some way. And look, here they go. Which I've also said, do you remember when I was telling you about that guy on TikTok who was like, oh yeah, the Browns are going to beat the 49ers? And I said, yep, I'll remember this comment. Well, he DM'd me after. He remembers that. He remembered that and DM'd me. Which turns out, I think his name's Ethan. Shout out Ethan if you're somehow watching.
Shout out Ethan.
He's like a nice guy. Like, he wasn't like really insufferable. He was just like, yeah, whatever. Call was kind of bad, but I will take it since I'm a Browns fan. We don't get these wins very often. So I said, you know what? As long as you know your place and you know that these don't come around very often, then
right.
Then I'm okay with it. So yeah, shout out Ethan. Not a bad guy.
So there's our, last week summed up. I hope you were able to tell us, 10-5, 9-6, not too shabby. Like I said, follow us on our socials. We're trying to do some of the highlights, the pros and the cons, and post them on there. So really would appreciate that. But let's get into this next week. These games I find pretty interesting, to be honest. There's a couple games where I feel like I'm just going to flip a coin, and, that's a lot of 50-50 games this week, in my opinion. And then there's a few other kind of like blowout-ish games. But let's go ahead and start with Thursday night football tomorrow. We are streaming this on Wednesdays. Go ahead.
Can we just time out? I'm just reading some of the comments here, and I really appreciate this one from Dylan that says, I'll give props where props are due. This past week might have been the most impressed I've been with the Steelers so far this season. So I really appreciate that, Dylan. That you were impressed with the Steelers on their bye week. It brings me a lot of joy being on this stream every week. It really does.
Hey, well, speaking of the Steelers, we have a interesting game with them that we'll get to later. Coming off a bye week, I have a insane stat about the Steelers coming off bye weeks, but I don't want to get to that yet because I have a little bit of a rant before we head into that.
Here we go.
So, Thursday night football. Jags and Saints, just an exciting game. I can't wait for this primetime game.
Better than New York.
I mean, is it? Because is Derek Carr going to play and is Trevor Lawrence going to play? I don't know.
That's true.
I saw reports that they said that Trevor Lawrence is likely to play. Whether he'll be 100% or not, I'm not sure. But because of that, the Jags are currently, technically a dog. It's almost a pick 'em. They're +1. If Lawrence is out, I'll take the Saints. But if he plans to play, which hopefully he does, I will take the Jags in a medium confidence pick. Now, here's kind of what I wrote. Lawrence over Derek Carr, Travis Etienne over Alvin Kamara. Maybe a hot take. Chris Olave is questionable, so I don't know about him. That is concerning for me for the Saints. The Saints defensive passing team has been really good. So I would like to see the Jags run the ball and get Travis Etienne going. If you're looking at props, I think Etienne is very live with anything in this game on the over. But to play a little bit of devil's advocate, the Jags haven't beat the Saints since 2003, which they haven't played. They've only met 4 times, but that's 4 straight losses. Obviously, the teams look different than what they did in 2003, but, I'm a big believer in, like, franchises and schemes against other franchises and schemes, just as a Bengals fan in the AFC North. I see that often every year with the Bengals. But, yeah, if Trevor Lawrence plays, I will take the Jags in a medium confidence pick. If he does not play, then I'm going to have to go with the Saints. I mean, I don't even know who the Jags backup is. So, yeah, Courtney, what are your thoughts on this one?
I'm going to go with the Jags. Probably either way, just because I have faded them for the past like 3 weeks and I've lost every single time.
Whoa.
So
Okay.
every time that I've gone against the Jags, they win. So,
Let's ride.
yeah, I'm just going to go with the Jags just because I feel like I've just been fading them. But in my defense, they've been in London for 2 weeks, so you just never know with that crap. But I'm gonna ride with them just because I keep fading them. So we'll see if this payout is worth it. Now, if they lose, then I'm gonna go back to fading them. But
Okay. All right. Well, there's your primetime game. Who's excited? Heading into Sunday, we got some 1:00 games. When I was talking earlier about 50-50 games, flip a coin, then pick your team. If it's heads, this is the game. Falcons Bucks. My initial reaction was, okay, I'm going to take the Bucks here. Or my initial reaction was actually the Falcons. I'm like, the Falcons, I'm sure they're going to be favorites. Desmond Ridder, but Bijan, good defense. The coaching's questionable. And the more and more I looked into it, I just kind of fell in love with the Bucks. I know I was trying to ride with them last week, faded them because Courtney made me, ended up getting the W on the Lions side. But I'm going to go back with the Bucks in a very low confidence pick. Both these teams are coming off a loss. Falcons are not good on the road, and the Bucks are not good at home this year. So, both bad and bad. I do think the Bucks will force a few turnovers on Desmond Ridder. If I can pull up his stats here, they're not very good when it comes to 6 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. This is, a veteran defensive team for the Bucks. They have a lot of playmakers who, they're over their, 27, 28 mark, but, they've been in the same scheme for a lot of years. They have a Super Bowl ring with the GOAT Tom Brady. They're still here. I think they're going to win them this game in probably a low scoring, ugly, turnover ridden game. Baker coming off a pretty bad week, missed a lot of throws, but he's still 7 touchdowns and 3 picks on 1,100 yards. Ricard White, the running back for the Buccaneers, is pretty concerning. He hasn't been too great. They still got Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, and I'm going to take those weapons over the Falcons weapons. Obviously, Bijan can go one-on-one with any of these guys. If you're doing like a fantasy draft, you're taking Bijan Robinson over any of these other guys to start your franchise. Now I'm just rambling, but yeah. Once again, 50-50 pick. I've been trying to find a stat or something that swings me to one side over the other, but nothing has. So I'm going to go Bucks, very low confidence. Baker Mayfield, let's get it done. Courtney, are you riding with Baker and the Bucks this week as well?
I am riding with Baker and the Bucks.
Woo!
It's kind of just like a gut feeling. Like I said, I really think that this Falcons team is not, like, they're not bad by any means, I would say. Like, they definitely have, like, a lot of talent on their team.
Right.
However, I just think the Bucks are going to get this one done. I'm going to believe in Baker.
And for full transparency, we do not tell each other our picks before each week, but I did text Courtney and I was like, yo, like, this game, what are we doing here? Because I have no idea. So low confidence pick. If you're telling us with some picks, I probably wouldn't do this one, but we are riding with Baker and the Bucks. Raiders and Bears, another just incredible game of the week type of game. I think everyone's going to be watching this game. Every play, Raiders and Bears. Courtney, why don't you start us off here in the battle of the backup quarterbacks? So excited.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, this is kind of like another one for me where I just kind of went back and forth. I originally was going to go with the Bears, but I think I'm going to go with the Raiders.
Okay.
This is like the lowest of low confidence. Like I really have no freaking clue. Um, but just because like at first I was like, okay, well the Bears like have had a couple like had a couple promising games.
Right.
That was with Justin Fields.
Right.
So
And I don't know who their backup is. I know for the Raiders, they're going with Hoyer, who, is a long time journeyman. He's got a lot of games under his belt, a lot of snaps. So I found that a little intriguing. This kid for the Bears, I believe, is an undrafted free agent. Not 100% sure on that, so don't quote me. But I think he's young.
Bear see Trace McSorley is they signed to their practice squad, but I don't think.
Okay, Dylan said Tyson Badgett, rookie quarterback for the Bears. Okay, so he is a rookie. Gotcha. Okay, yeah, Tyson Badgett. There it is. That's I was watching because I'm a Vikings fan, so I was watching Vikings Bears, and that name looked familiar. Yeah, that was a good because they brought him in, and I was like, "Who is this?" And I think they said like 5th or late round pick. But yeah, there you go. You riding with them?
I'm gonna go with the Raiders.
Oh.
I just this is so low. I don't even know. Oh god, this game, like just even thinking about it, is just like making me upset. Just even thinking that this is going to be on national television. This is one of those Toy Story games.
Right. Let's get Disney. What game or what are we doing this week? Are we doing Toy Story? Are we doing can we do Cars? Like, come on, let's do something good here.
Yeah,
Let's get some animations going for this one.
Yeah, I'm really upset just like thinking about this game, and that's so like messed up. But I'm just upset thinking about it. But yeah, I'm going with the Raiders.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you, Courtney. I'm also gonna be riding with the Raiders. Low confidence pick. I got game of the week, battle of the backup quarterbacks. Give me Brian Hoyer over this other kid. Yeah, I mean, I'll take the Raiders' offensive weapons and defense over the Bears' offensive weapons and their defense. That's about all I got.
Talk about Justin Fields' bad luck? Like this sucks. Like I can't remember what they said about his hand injury or like how long he's going to be out, but like this is kind of a year where you got to turn things around. You got to like prove that you are going to get another contract or an extension, and then here he goes getting an injury. But I hope he leaves Chicago anyway. I hope he goes somewhere else. Like
it just sucks to be a Bears fan because you're gonna have such a high pick. Or you're gonna have 2 high picks, I believe, because they have somebody else's pick as well.
Well, yeah, people are saying they want Caleb Williams to go to Chicago, which I find laughable. By the way, that I just saw that Caleb Williams, like his NFL, so that he has ownership of a
they
team.
said they want ownership.
Shut the front door. You have not played a single snap in the NFL. That made me really.
Well, here's the thing, Courtney. These kids that are coming through with the NIL,
yes,
they want. It's a different mindset when they come to the NFL now. They want more than just dollar signs. They want investments, and because these kids are making so much money already in college, you have to give them something enticing to say, "Hey, come to the NFL now this year, so we can draft you." But yeah, it's ridiculous. I agree. But I think it's gonna continue to happen. This NIL money is just making these kids a little different of a breed, to be honest.
Well, that's really great, Caleb. I truly admire your aspirations to have part ownership of the team. How about we have a conversation after you've played a couple snaps? I don't know.
Right.
Maybe like me being a boomer. Maybe that's me being old school. No. How about if you're gonna want to own, why don't you just throw in the towel and just own a team then? I mean, you got all this NIL money. Who cares? Oh, that made me so mad.
I hear you. But I will say about Justin Fields, like as a Vikings fan, I've watched a lot of his games over his career. I even as a Vikings fan wanted to draft Justin Fields because in that draft there was talk of the Vikings moving up and getting that next guy behind Cousins before he signed the extension. And I remember like being with my dad. I was like, dude, this could be our guy. Like, we could trade up. He doesn't have to play right away. And to see him go to this Bears team is just so frustrating to have to be a Bears fan, I can imagine. Because like you got these 2 top picks, you would think you would want to draft a quarterback. But if you want to draft a quarterback, you're going to have the same issues. You still have the worst offensive line in the league. You still have probably a bottom 5 running back in the league. It's Khalil Herbert's not that good. I'm going to be honest. I mean, you got DJ Moore. Outside of that, who do you have? And then like a crappy defense. It's just you need more than just a quarterback. And I like Justin Fields, but I never have watched him and said he's more than a franchise quarterback. Whether he's got, put him on the Bengals offense, I don't think he's anything more than a franchise quarterback. I like Justin Fields. I want to see him succeed. It just sucks to be a Bears fan, because if you get rid of him, I think if he goes to, I don't know, let's say Purdy doesn't turn out the rest of the season, then he goes to the 49ers, he's going to be really successful in a team like that, in a scheme like that. There's a couple different franchises where he could go to and have a situation, but in Chicago, man, it's such a tough choice. I also want to add Garoppolo is 7 touchdowns to 8 picks, which is just crazy to think they did what they did to acquire him. Very interesting, but yeah. Any last comments before we move on?
I would say I would like to see Justin Fields in Atlanta. I would. I kind of saw this is Ryan Clark kind of talking about it, but I think he could fit in well with the Atlanta offense. But I digress.
Is he much of an upgrade over Desmond Ridder? I think he's an upgrade.
Yeah,
how much of an upgrade?
It's tough, but I would either way. I think it's an upgrade. So not to take anything away from Desmond Ridder, but if I had a chance, if I'm Atlanta and I have a chance to get Justin Fields, I would take it.
Agreed. All right, next game we have the Browns coming off a crazy win, to say the least, over the 49ers, the best team in the NFL, in my opinion. And you got the Colts with Gardner Minshew, who a lot of people said, oh, it's Gardner Minshew. He's the best backup in the league, which, may be true, but he hasn't looked too great, to be honest. 3 touchdowns, 3 picks. He has, thrown for nearly 900 yards, which is pretty crazy the time he has. Zach Moss, still the leading rusher for the Colts. What are we doing here? I don't get this Colts offense. I mean, I love Anthony Richardson. Like, I think that kid is special if he's on the field.
We'll see him next season.
Right. If he's on the field. But he's got weapons on this offense, but it's just like I don't understand what we're doing here with the Colts, with or without Richardson. With that said, I have Browns by 1 million here. Medium high confidence pick for the Browns. Arguably the best defense in the league against a backup quarterback. That's NFL logic, which usually means, Colts probably going to put up 30 points and win. But I would like to think, because this is arguably the best defense in the league against a backup quarterback, this should be a no-brainer. I will say the Browns are 0-1 on the road, and the Colts are 1-2 at home. So both these teams struggling in their situation. Medium high confidence pick. Give me the Browns. Courtney, what about you?
I'm also going to go with the Browns, and I'm really disappointed to see that Anthony Richardson is going to get that shoulder surgery that is going to leave him out for the rest of the season. I hate that. But I'm fading the Colts so hard for a hot sec, because I feel like the past few weeks I've been going out on a limb and being like, no, the Colts are going to get it done. The Colts are going to get it done. I've said it week after week, and they haven't gotten it done. So it's just like, geez, the Browns played like their defense was just murdering Brock Purdy last week. Like, he played like absolute dog water. I find it hilarious that the Browns did win, however, without Deshaun Watson. I mean, come on, people. Like, the one time the Browns are actually playing good, Deshaun Watson's not there.
I wrote in my comments, I just didn't say it, was like, with or without Watson, this team should win some games because of the defense. Obviously they're not going to be as good as they should without Nick Chubb. I mean, that's their guy. But, Jerome Ford is filling in. Kareem Hunt had a touchdown.
Yeah.
I just don't think you need Deshaun Watson in this team, and they paid him like they need him. So that's very interesting to look at now.
Yeah, that's what frustrates me. And the other thing is I don't really know what's going on with this deep bone rotator, whatever he's got going on, bruise.
Right.
He's been cleared to play, as my understanding, and he's just not.
It's definitely concerning, the lack of information that's came out about him since the injury. I remember like the first 2 games he was out, it was just like, oh, by the way, Deshaun Watson's not playing. And by the way, we don't know who the backup is. It's not the rookie that they played in the preseason who looked pretty good. It's this other random kid. Like I don't know. That situation's weird. I mean, there's definitely something to it, but as long as that defense is playing how it's playing, it doesn't really matter.
It's making Deshaun look worse than he. Like, I mean, I don't like Deshaun Watson, but it's making him look worse than people already think.
I mean, who does?
It's making him look worse than people already think about him. So that's a tough bounce. But I digress. I'm gonna go with the Browns. Like I said, I'm gonna be fading the Colts. Just because
I've gone with the Colts one too many times this year. I've liked them in a lot of underdog picks, and they just haven't pulled it off. But we got the chat real quick. Dylan said Grant Delpit looked phenomenal. I mean, who hasn't? Right? I mean, they've all looked pretty great for the most part. We got Deborah in here saying go Niners. Hey, I wanted the Niners to win that. I had a high confidence pick on the Niners. I've been saying they're the best team in the National Football League all year. So I'm with you, Deborah, but we got to change some things around for this next week. I mean, I don't know what's going on in there, but something's got to change.
Brock Purdy's got to wake up. Is what he needs to do right there. He played like dog water. I'm not afraid to say that he did.
He played bad.
But he did have the drive to get. He did have that drive at the end to get them to the promised land. All right, and of course their kicker missed. Michigan man, who's surprised as an Ohio State fan. I'm not.
I didn't see this. Dylan said the Colts also lost Grover Stewart for 6 weeks to PEDs. I don't know how I missed that. I wish when they would say PEDs, what they would say specifically. I don't know, maybe they did. I just didn't see it because I'd like to know. I think it'd be interesting if the guy's just blasting Trin during the season. Like, what an idiot. But let's just move on.
I gotta get away from the Browns and the Colts right now. They're both
right. Okay, we're gonna move on. Me off. Commanders Giants, just another freaking game I'm so excited for. Like, I'm so pumped for this game.
This is not prime time. I mean,
yeah, 1 o'clock. So you got choices. This game's interesting. I put Giants low confidence ? Originally I was on the Commanders, but you got a healthy Danny Dimes and a healthy Saquon, finally having a full week of preparation, kind of. Washington's defense is ranked 29th in points per games, and the Giants is 28th points per game, so both really bad. So I think the over is very live in this game if you're looking for a prop or a spread or bet. I think the over plus some player props. Saquon's probably really live. I think there'll be a lot of points scored, or there will be like no points scored. It's going to be one or the other. I just believe in the Giants' offensive weapons a little more over the Commanders' offensive weapons. I had the Commanders originally. They got the win last week, which I believe I faded them. Right? Who they play? Yeah, they played the Falcons. I was on the Falcons, so they pulled that one off. I said Ron Rivera would be fired, but he's not going to get fired after a win. So Danny Dimes, 2 touchdowns, 6 picks on the year. They're 1-5. I just think this is the game where they kind of start to turn it around, make it 2-5. Washington's 3-3. No logical reasoning here. I just think this is a spot where the Giants are saying, hey, we're at home. We have a decently healthy team now. We still got some guys down, but this is the game where we claw back into the winning margin. Low confidence pick for the Giants. Courtney, are you on the other side on this one? I have a feeling.
Yes, I am. I'm on the Commanders.
Right.
I just feel as though the Giants, they just find a way to be laughable every single week. I mean, Jesus. Like, they just, I just am so frustrated with this team. Sure, they were keeping up with the Bills, I guess, if you want to call it that, but the Bills played like garbage. So, I mean, it's just tough. It's just really tough. This Giants team really gets on my nerves. Did you say Daniel Jones is coming back? Because I
see Dylan's comment. I don't think it's confirmed, but he practiced today. I mean, usually a quarterback, if he practices, he plays. But I still would take the Giants if he's out. Give me Tyrod Taylor. I mean, we're talking Sam Howell is here. Is he even a starter himself? 1,500 yards, 9 touchdowns, 6 picks. Not shabby, but Tyrod, Tyrod's Tyrod, man. He's a pretty good player. I like watching him. He's definitely entertaining. But yeah, I mean,
How
we
about
talked.
okay, but can
They
we
played the
talk about
Bills well.
that this decision making and clock management was god awful for the Giants on that play where they had the run play and then they just this was going into the half where
Oh yeah, going into half and then he chewed out Tyrod. There's
yes.
definitely some miscommunication there. He should have
Mhm.
spiked the ball, but instead ran a play.
Yeah, that is where that's where I'm coming from when I say the Giants find a way to be laughable every single week. I mean, Jesus. That was so frustrating. I'm like, what is going on?
My gut tells me go Commanders, but I'm going with the Giants. I just don't think they're a 1-6 team. Like injuries or not, I just see them as more of a 2-5 team. Seeing Washington as a 4-3 team is a little interesting too. I don't know. So I'm sticking with the Giants with or without Jones.
I could see that. I could see the Giants going 2-5. I'm so sorry to the Jets for accidentally about to confuse you for him. That is so disrespectful of me. But yeah, I'm just going with the Commanders. It's just my gut feeling, and we're on the opposite sides. So,
what's your confidence on this? Is it low confidence? Is it higher? What is it? Low.
it is like the lowest of low.
Cool.
Well, honestly, I couldn't care less what happens with this game, but sorry.
Fair enough. I think we have another game coming up here that I think we're going to be on opposite sides of.
Okay.
Lions in Baltimore against the Ravens. I am riding with the Detroit Lions medium confidence pick. The Lions are 3-0 on the road this season, and the Ravens are 1-1 at home. The Lions' rush defense is ranked first in the NFL, and the Ravens' pass defense is ranked second in the NFL. This is a great matchup. Whatever each offense is good at, the opposing defense is just as good. I'm very excited for this game. As a Bengals fan, I want the Lions to win, and as a Vikings fan, I want the Ravens to win. So hopefully they can draw. Yeah, I just statistically, this is a great match for both teams. Everyone that I've seen on social media and a couple of the videos I've watched, everyone's riding with the Ravens here at home. They are 3-point favorites at the time of the recording, but I am going with the dog here. Give me the Lions on the road. I just have a feeling, Jared Goff, 11 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Not too shabby. Everyone says, oh, it's an outside game. I'm pretty sure the Lions have played outside multiple times this year. What about Kansas City? They just played outside in Tampa. Isn't Carolina outside? What about oh wait, no, I was at home. What about Green Bay? Like I keep hearing the same narrative. Jared Goff can't play outside. He can't play outside. It's like, dude, he has 11 touchdowns, 3 picks, and nearly 2,000 yards. Like he's a borderline MVP contender right now so far in the year. You look at Lamar Jackson, 5 touchdowns to 3 picks. 4 more rushing touchdowns, but he's, the leading passer and leading rusher. It's concerning on a team that can put up points quick. David Montgomery has looked great. Jahmyr Gibbs, a first-round pick. Forget about him. But David Montgomery's looked great. And then Amon-Ra St. Brown, when he's been in the game and healthy, he's been a true receiver one. I will say, even as a Bengals fan, that Zay Flowers pick looks really good. Zay Flowers looks like a baller. Looks like he's building chemistry week in and week out with Lamar. I think he's going to continue to get more targets. But yeah, short and sweet. I guess not short and sweet, but I'm going with the Lions here. I don't know why everyone's taking the Ravens, but I just have a feeling the Lions are going to just outscore the Ravens. I don't know, Courtney. What are we feeling? This might be the best 1:00 game yet.
I'm with you. I'm riding with the Lions this week.
Okay, wow. I thought you were picking the Ravens here. I'm not going to lie.
No, I haven't really loved what I've been seeing from the Ravens in the past couple of weeks. Like, yeah, they're winning games, yada yada yada, but in a very uninspiring fashion, in my humble opinion.
The Lions or the Ravens?
The Ravens.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm just like
24-16. They had a dominant win over Cleveland, and then 27-24 in week 1 against the Bengals. So
and they went into overtime with the Colts, and you're just like, what are you doing? Like, what? Right. What is going on? What is going on? And where is this game?
It's in Baltimore.
Okay, that's what I thought, but then I'm pretty sure the Ravens, like, the next week are going to Germany or something like that. So they went from London to Baltimore to Germany, I think. I might have dreamt that, but I'm pretty sure that's
Gotta love the NFL.
but I'm pretty
Make
sure
it
that's
true.
what's happening. They're playing in Germany. But anyway, yeah, I like this Lions team. I really do. And as a Steelers fan, I want the Lions to win. Obviously, Steelers had a tough bounce on their bye week. Everybody else in the division won, so of course I would love to even the playing field a little bit from
Right.
them being on a bye week. But yeah, I just like this Lions team. Pretty confident in this pick, actually.
And if you are betting, I mean, Lions +3, I mean, that's a pretty good line. I mean, it's most likely is going to be a close game, especially if the Ravens are winning. Just my opinion. Yeah, over under is 42, so a lot of people think there's going to be some points scored. I could see it really going either way. I don't know, but I do know I like the Lions here. So I'm gonna fade the popular Baltimore Ravens this week, and Courtney is in agreement. So let's head to another interesting 1:00 game here. The biggest margin of the 1:00 games. We have the Bills and the Patriots. Courtney, why don't you get us started on this one?
The Patriots are so bad. I mean,
The Belichick narrative is over.
I mean, I can't even with these people. Like, and their fans have been driving me insane on Twitter. Like one drive, they're gonna be like, "Yes, we're back Super Bowl contenders. Yes, yes, yes." And the next drive, they're like, "Oh, we're tanking. We're gonna get the #1 pick." Who? I don't really know what their strategy that they're gonna be if they're gonna try to get a new quarterback. I don't see that happening.
Mac Jones, 5 touchdowns to 7 picks, and he's been benched like 3 games. So, I mean, that's not good.
Yeah, I don't like it at all. I think the Bills are going to win this in flying colors here. However, the Bills are so up and down. Like some weeks you're like, dang, they're really like those guys, and then the other weeks you're like, who showed up and wearing these Bills uniforms? It is
Right.
unbelievable the turnaround that they are doing week to week, and it's just like, are you going to be, but it's like, hey, I'm still taking them out of all the New York. I know I lied. Normally, I would say I'm out of all the New York football teams. I'm gonna ride the Bills, but we'll come back to that.
Well, hear me out, because I have an insane stat on this game. The Patriots have won 13 straight over the Buffalo Bills at Gillette Stadium.
Oh, was this before or after they scored 3 points in like 3 weeks?
But hear me out. 13 straight over the Bills at Gillette Stadium. Now, I will say, listen to that legendary stat. I have another stat that plays devil's advocate. They are also 0-3 at Gillette Stadium this year. Obviously, a different Patriots team, right? Yeah, I mean, Mac Jones, 5 touchdowns to 7 picks. He's been benched like 3 times this year. In the first few weeks of the season, I kept saying, "Oh, it's Bill Belichick. He's going to turn around. He's going to turn around." And then this last couple of weeks, I've been saying, Bill Belichick isn't the GOAT without the GOAT Tom Brady, and it's starting to show. Now, look, I'm not just going to bury Mac Jones here. I mean, Kendrick Bourne is his receiver 1. He has a below average offensive line. Ramondre Stevenson has 200 yards on the year, like just not good. There's a lot of things that have gone into this. The defense isn't up to the Belichick standard like it usually is. I mean, it's not just Mac Jones here. This whole situation has been really bad, and it just keeps getting worse for the Patriots. And I just don't think I just don't see this being the game where the Patriots turn it around.
It's a real dumpster fire. What's going on over there? Like it's like they really have no like positives I can like say right now. Like, oh, but yeah, Mac Jones sucks, but then there's this. Like, no, they're just tanking right now.
Right. And everyone seems to be saying that. I mean, the Bills are 9-point road favorites. That's you don't see that very often. 9-point road favor or 9-point road favorites. That's insane. I won't be touching this game with my money. Maybe I would tease the 9 down to 6.5 and just say the Bills win by a touchdown. That's probably the closest thing I'll get to that. Maybe a Stephon Diggs over. That's about all I got on this game. I mean, the Bills have some key injuries to the defensive side of the ball, but I don't care. Give me the Bills. High confidence pick. It was a high confidence pick last week. And you know,
look where that guy is.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm gonna go with the Bills, but that's 13 straight. If the Patriots end up winning this one, I'm gonna come back next week and start that off like I told you guys. I told you, but
I mean,
I'm not gonna listen to myself.
That is an insane stat, but
right. That's also with the GOAT, not Belichick, Brady, right? Yeah. All right, let's move on. Now let's get to some 4:00 games here on the East Coast. We have the Bird Bowl, the Cardinals and the Seahawks. I'm going to ride with the Seattle Seahawks with medium confidence. It's less about the Seahawks and more with the Cardinals. I just feel like fading them here. I've been saying it. The Cardinals aren't the worst team in the NFL, and I'm going to stand on that. They are currently 7.5-point dogs. I would consider that. I mean, 7.5 is a lot of points for the Seattle team. But look, it's just not a good matchup for the Cardinals. They are 24th in rush defense and 27th in points per game. And what does Seattle do? They run the ball. I think if you're looking for props, Kenneth Walker's overs or touchdown or both, money. As a Bengals fan, I was going to run Kenneth Walker over and touchdown. Didn't run the touchdown. And who was the first one to score in the game? Kenneth Walker. I mean, he just walked into the end zone. The Seattle-Cincinnati game was so interesting because that first half was so much different than the second half. But, I mean, it's the Bengals, so it's always like that. But that first drive by Seattle, they looked so good. And then the Bengals defense just exploded after that. So, I don't know. I'm trying to – I already said the line. The over-under is 45. That's a lot of points. I would consider the under. I don't know if either of these teams are going to score over 45. That's a lot. So, I don't know. Yeah, give me Seahawks, medium confidence pick. Courtney, are you riding with the Hawks? Or are you going with the Cardinals?
I'm also going to ride with the Seahawks. Although, like you said, it's more about the Cardinals than it is the Seahawks. I would love for the Cardinals to win this game. I just don't know if they're going to do that.
Right, and everyone talked about Geno Smith last year. I mean, he's 5 touchdowns to 3 picks this year. I mean, he hasn't played great. DK Metcalf has got issues. Cam Taylor-Britt put his seatbelt on him. He told him to buckle up. Cam Taylor-Britt, the second-year man for the Bengals. I don't care, man. He put up a fight with DK. He was pressing him. Like, who presses DK from the line of scrimmage? Not many corners. But Cam Taylor-Britt was telling him to put his seatbelt on. That was such an awesome matchup. They were battling all game long. Metcalf had a couple good catches. But Metcalf's got some issues, dude. And I like Pete Carroll, but I'm also glad he's not my team's coach. He just, he's like almost too much of a player's coach. Like, I remember after the penalty that that DK Metcalf he got, like, just because he was just mad and he was taking his anger out, and he's over at the sideline, and Pete Carroll's got like his arm around him. He's like, "Oh, it's okay, buddy. It's okay. We'll get a next drive." It's like, no, dude, you're the coach. Like, there is a fine line from coach to player. Like, I understand, like, I like player coaches or, coaches who are, a player's guy, but like, there's a fine line here. Like, he does it every game. I mean, I was on Twitter and there was more Seattle fans complaining about it than there were Bengals fans because they see it so often. I mean, he only has 22 receptions on the year. He's not a superstar. And he I don't know. He just thinks he deserves superstar treatment. And I will say, to bring a positive to Seattle, Kenneth Walker, you got a guy there. Kenneth Walker is pretty good. It was very, he's a big boy. I really liked watching him. So, yeah, that's all I got to say. I just want to touch on that as a Bengals fan. But, Courtney, go ahead.
So far on the season, DK Metcalf has drawn 9 unnecessary roughness, 15-yard penalties. The man's a receiver.
That's almost half of his catches he has on the season. He only has 22 catches.
The man is a receiver, and he just came out, was talking to the media, and was like, "Oh, like I accept responsibility for the interception, but not for the penalty." Like, he's
Right,
such
and the
a diva.
interception was, he just stopped his route because he got mad, he got locked up, and then, Cam Taylor-Britt, he basically was just ended up running the route for him and got the pick.
He
So,
is. I don't know I don't know, because I know he like left the game for a second towards the end of an injury. I don't really know whatever came of that. I don't know if he's going to be in this week, but like I think so, though. I didn't think it was super serious. They didn't make it seem like it anyway.
I can't recall. I honestly don't remember what the
Because I was
injury
trying,
was.
because I don't see it on here.
I thought it was like back soreness or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't see anything that's come out saying that he's not playing this week. So, but yeah, like I said, I'm gonna go to the Seahawks. But I'm just really sick and tired of his temper tantrums and just acting like a child. No, you're like, go out there, catch the ball, run your route to catch the
And
ball.
it's like you see the veterans, they obviously get pissed off themselves, but they wait till they're on the sideline to throw their helmet and, punch the fan and, throw their tantrum. They're on the sideline. Like there's a lot of people that hates on Stephon Diggs for his temper tantrums, but at least he does them on the sideline. Like he goes onto the sideline and he takes his
He's
helmet off,
not
he slams
drawing
it.
15-yard penalties. One, by the way, was on the 40-yard line, and you're like, this is not the time for you.
He's costing his team points at this
He
this
has
point.
9 of them on the season. Like, I do not care how many Seahawks fans are going to come out and be like, but he's like so good. He's so good. Like I'm like, he had one season, I think, that was like 1,300 yards on the season, I think, which I'm not going to take. Like, yeah, he's like a big guy. Like, he's real hard to take down. Was not worth the 9 unnecessary reference.
Right. And you want to sit here and talk about DK this, DK that. Go put on some Justin Jefferson highlights. Go watch a Vikings game when Justin Jefferson's playing. Like you'll see what a top receiver in the NFL looks like. It's not even close to anybody else. But I digress.
That was my frustration with DK Metcalf. That was a Metcalf. That was a
And we're not even Seahawks fans, so I can't imagine how some Seahawks fans feel, the unbiased ones.
No, and it's just like, dude, the
you gotta
9
know what's the
penalties.
best interest for your team. And see, this is what I'm saying with Pete Carroll. It's like, he's known as like the ultimate players coach, but there's a problem sometimes with that. Like you have to discipline your players. Like they literally, the camera crew, they pan to DK and Pete Carroll after the penalty on the sideline, and Pete Carroll's like, "Oh, don't worry about it. They shouldn't have called that." It's like, dude, you got to discipline your player. Take him out for a series. Do something.
Remind this guy that he is not Justin Jefferson, okay? You're not out here looking like a MVP.
It's so ridiculous. We're moving on because we have a game that I'm sure you'll be watching at 4:00 because it has to do with your Steelers. We got the Steelers coming off the best week of the season in the bye week, heading to LA to take on the Rams. Courtney, who are we rocking with in this game?
This is such a okay. So I came on here and I've said a million times that the Rams are wishy-washy. They played.
Yep.
They played damn good last week.
Yeah.
And I won't lie to you. Those weeks that Cooper Kupp have not been playing, I kind of forgot about him. And now that he's back, I'm like, dang it. I don't like that. Like, of course, I don't want him to be injured, but I'm just like, dang it. Now he's part of this offense. Oh, God. This is tough.
You're going with?
I'm going with the Steelers because
yes.
I'll tell you why. Not because of that. I think they're going to come out and win with flying colors. No, but this is because the last time I faded the Steelers, they fucking won. So I don't want to do that. I do not want to fade my team again and lose because of them. However, the Steelers locker room and coaching staff, it's a hot mess dumpster fire right now. They are benching some of their first round pick rookies because some of our veterans are coming back, And obviously, a lot of Steelers fans are upset about this because these rookies are coming out and they're doing what first-round picks do in the NFL. Okay, they're doing their job and doing it well. There's just a lot of frustration coming from the offense. And then you're seeing now Mike Tomlin's coming out being super upset with like the media, just giving really quick, snarky remarks to any of the questions being asked about the offense and coaching changes. And people are asking the right questions.
He's just fed up at this point. He's tired of hearing the same question week in, week out. What are your thoughts on the offense? What was your thoughts on the play calling? I mean, I understand it gets old, but at the same time, he signed up for the job. He's got to do it.
Yeah, it's just like, yes, they're asking the same questions week after week, but you have to think to yourself, Mike Tomlin, why are they asking these questions? Obviously, you see the product you're putting out there. It's not a good one. And nothing significant has been changing. Now, it's unheard of for the Steelers to fire a coach or fire anyone mid-season. It's unheard of. And, you have to have a really good backup candidate to even fill that, which, I mean, anybody looks good next to this guy at this point, but they like to hire from within. It's the whole thing.
Steelers fans have to accept Matt Patricia for the rest of the season. They're not going to fire him mid-season.
Matt Canada.
I mean, it's just not going to happen. Matt Patricia, Matt Canada, yeah. It's just not going to happen. I just don't think it's going to happen.
And I'm tired of seeing it week after week. Everyone's like, oh, fire this guy. Going to Penguins games and Pirates games saying, fire this guy, okay?
Yeah, that's a classic.
We see the frustration. They see it. You can yell at every single game. It's not going to happen. It's just not. I just think Matt Patricia on the Steelers might be even worse.
It might be worse.
True.
I don't know.
But
Dylan also said Jaylen Warren. Like, what's going on with Najee? Najee 63 carries, 247, no touchdowns on the year. By the way, he's a power back. Your power back should have some rushing touchdowns. Just saying, Kenneth Walker, the Seahawks, power back, he's got like 6 touchdowns already in the year. Kyron Williams on the other side, hasn't even played a full season, 6 touchdowns on the year. Najee Harris, 0.
It's really a really, really bad, tough bounce for the Steelers. I would not be surprised if the Rams won this, but however, it's actually likely. I'll say it's likely that the Rams will come out and win this. They're in LA, but I just don't know if the Steelers defense can lock them up. And the defense is what's going to keep the Steelers in this game. It's the same thing every single week. But if the defense has a good game, I think the Steelers have a chance of keeping it close. But yeah, I don't want to fade my team and then them win again because that made me feel really gross. So
all right,
avoid that.
Courtney's gonna ride with her Steelers. I'm going with the Rams in a low confidence pick. Look, the Steelers defense is great, but I think the Rams offense can score 20 plus points, which means they beat the Steelers because the Steelers aren't going to score more than 20 points. Look, the Steelers pass defense is ranked 25th and they're 22nd in points per game. So although they're great, how great are they? Obviously, they can turn the ball over. They even score some of their team's points. They do the fancy schmancy stuff. But when it gets to some of the, important stats, they're not too great. Now, speaking of stats, I have the best stat of the week. Mike Tomlin is 12-4 coming off of bye weeks in his entire career. And matter of fact, he hasn't lost coming off a bye week since 2016. Yeah. Now, I do want to point out with this stat, Drew, why aren't you taking it even though you have this insane stat? Early in the season, I had another Mike Tomlin crazy stat about rookie quarterbacks and how he's like 25-4 or something ridiculous. And then CJ Stroud beat the Steelers. So Mike Tomlin did me dirty there because he had some insane stat. And same here. So I saw that and was like, oh, I got to, 12-4, that means statistically I need to take Mike Tomlin here. No, I did that last time and the Steelers burnt me. So I'm not going to do it here. I simply think the Rams outscore the Steelers. If you're a team playing the Steelers, you can score more than 20 points. You win. Now, I do want to point out, it's not like Matthew Stafford has been so much better than Kenny Pickett. Pickett, 5 touchdowns, 4 interceptions on the year. Matthew Stafford, 6 touchdowns on 5 picks through the year. Now, Stafford's been playing through some injuries, whatever. But he also has more weapons. I mean, Nakua has been incredible. He's been a receiver 1 in his own right. And then now you have Cooper Kupp back. I just think,
I
although the
believe
Steelers may have a couple sacks, they're gonna force Stafford to throw a pick. The Steelers are still gonna get their turnovers. I still think the Rams can put up more points. So the Steelers really need a lot of turnovers. They probably even need a pick six or a fumble recovery, TJ Watt celebrating in the end zone to win this game. But what's the Steelers game where they don't do that if they want to win? So
I believe that Pat Freiermuth and Deontay Johnson are coming back this week. I believe. So that
noted.
That I think helps a little bit, but I think I saw Dylan asked what kind of game does Pickens have? I think it's a tough call because if we have those two other guys coming back, I think that for sure Matt Canada, Mike Tomlin are going to favor Deontay Johnson and Pat Freiermuth for whatever reason. I just think that when those types of weapons are out on the field, the same, like, that's who the target is going to go for. That is who Kenny Pickett is going to look at first. Because he's missed Pickens a lot of times, and I will say a lot of Pickens' downfalls is because Kenny Pickett's not even looking at him. Or that's not his first person he's looking at, which in my opinion, should have been these past few weeks, because who else are you looking at? Like,
to your point, everyone talks about how great George Pickens is. He has 22 receptions, 393 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Puka Nacua has 50 receptions, more than double Pickens' receptions, 600 yards, nearly double Pickens' yards, and 2 touchdowns as well. That's a kid that nobody even heard of going into the NFL season. Puka Nacua has nearly double all of Pickens' stats. Whether he's more talented than Pickens or if he was just getting the ball more because Stafford, he can throw the ball more than 10 yards. I don't know.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like, yeah.
Yeah, Puka gets a gazillion targets, but he's also getting open. Is Pickens not always getting open?
No, the problem with that is there has been so many times where I'm watching Steelers games and I'm just looking, George Pickens, he is open. And George Pickens makes freakish catches, okay? You just put that ball up in the air, he's going to find a way to catch it, okay? He doesn't get picked very often. So, it's just a matter of, Puka Nacua has Matthew Stafford, who's a veteran quarterback who sees him. Kenny Pickett is just not reading, like, the offense well. He's just not. But to his point, he also has 0.2 seconds to make a decision. Because
don't you miss Big Ben already?
I just saw a tweet this last week that said this guy, picture of Ben, saying he covered up a lot of problems in the Steelers offense for a really long time. Like, right. We have had issues for a hot sec. After the Triple B era, like, things just kind of started to tank for the Steelers offense, and that's just
Tyrod Taylor over Pickett?
That's crazy. That
is it? I mean,
not really that crazy. But the Steelers offense kind of started to tank after the Triple B era, which I missed. That team should have won a Super Bowl, but whatever. That offense with our current defense, that would be something right there. But I digress.
Do you remember the running back Bell? Do you remember when he held out that offseason because he wanted a big contract and they got that big contract by the Jets and played like 4 games on the contract and then just disappeared from the NFL?
Well, he's a rapper. He's a rapper and a boxer now, Drew. So.
Oh, just like Antonio Brown, also a racist. We'll move on. He's also a terrible human being. I say that I can't. Oh man, Antonio Brown just. That's a good one.
Anyway,
as a Bengals fan, I want to say it will make me so happy the day the Steelers give Kenny Pickett a extension. So, on that note, an actual good game. A few of them, hard to come by this week, honestly, in my opinion. Chiefs and Chargers at Chiefs. So, interesting game. The Chiefs have beat the Chargers 3 games in a row. The Chargers are 24th in points per game. Meanwhile, the Chiefs are 2nd, which, hey, props to the Chiefs defense. Everyone's always been talking about these past couple of years. It's always been the defense. The Chiefs offense has scored 35 points to win. so far in the season, they are second in points per game, so not too bad. Chargers are dead last in passing yards per game. They're going up against Patrick Mahomes. Obviously his weapons aren't as great as they've been in the past, but if you are dead last and, guarding the passing attack and you're going up against Patrick Mahomes, I'm going to take the other side 10 out of 10 times. So I'm going to take the Chiefs here. Medium confidence pick. This Chargers team, I can't get the right pick. I pick them, they lose. I fade them, they win. Took them over the Cowboys. They didn't look bad, but it was just, I don't know, interesting game to say the least. They beat the Vikings in a game they probably shouldn't have won. They beat the Raiders by only a touchdown. They lose to the Titans. They lose to the Dolphins. Just a really weird season. Props to Justin Herbert playing through his broken middle finger or whatever finger it is. 9 touchdowns, 2 picks on the year. Mahomes, 11 touchdowns, 5 picks on the year. Not too much of a Mahomes year, figuring out this new weapon core he has. Travis Kelce, the leading receiver for the Chiefs so far in the year, even not playing a game or two. It should be a fun game. Nonetheless, there should be a lot of points scored. I don't know if Eckler is in or out. I don't see him on the injury report, so he should be good to go unless I'm missing something. I don't know. I just like the Chiefs here. Medium confidence pick. I think they make that 3 games in a row to 4. And I just, unless Mahomes has 3 or 4 picks, I don't see how the Chargers get it done. Courtney, what are we feeling here? Are we with the Chargers here?
No, I'm going with the Chiefs. I agree with what you said. Is the Chargers are very unpredictable, I think, this year. Because I have picked them a few times and won with them. But then I've also lost with them a few times. So it's just really hard to. Chargers is not a team where I'm going to consistently fade them or consistently pick them because it's going off basically gut. You just don't know. But right. I do also. This is in Kansas City, right?
It is. Yep.
Well, you know who's going to be there. So I think
the Chiefs are going to get every call. They're going to get every flag. You already know it. They're going to get every call.
They are going.
The refs might as well wear red and white stripes and sparkly boots. Like, they might as well just wear something sparkly that's red and white. I'm so tired of it.
Yeah. Well.
Oh.
Siri's also tired of it too.
Right. Siri's had enough.
Yeah. I just think that the Chiefs are going to take this one, especially at home. Now, if this is in LA,
it's basically still a home game for the Chiefs if it's in LA.
Pretty much. So I just think the Chiefs are going to take this one.
Oh, that one lady, she's a plant. That's not a real human. That's an NPC that was created by Roger Goodell in the NFL. She's not real.
Oh. Well, at least I would much rather talk about her than I would talk about somebody else.
Oh, I wasn't talking about the mainstream girl. I was talking about the fan they were showing for the Chiefs. But the other girl's also a plant.
I'm talking about the Chargers fan. Yeah, I'd rather talk about her than I would talk about Taylor Swift.
Yeah, about the girl that was made by Kanye West. Anything else in this game before we move on?
I'm gonna just not.
This is a good one.
I'm not gonna have anything to say after
that. We'll see if Mr. Pfizer can get this one done. All right, Packers Broncos. So another awesome game. I cannot wait for Packers Broncos. I'll definitely be watching this game over the Chargers Chiefs game and the Steelers Rams game.
Oh, that's.
I'm sure everybody will have this game on at 4:00. So, I'm fading the Broncos here. I'm actually gonna start this off different. Where's all the Jordan Love? Where's all the Jordan Love lovers at? Right? I mean, I start the season. All national media was talking about Jordan Love's getting the torch. He's getting the torch from Rodgers, who got it from Favre, and he is the next guy. He is, the Packers. He's the man. And from week 1, I was like, dude, Jordan Love, this is not the guy. I don't know what national media has been talking about. This is not the guy. I'm a Vikings fan. I've been watching him when he gets, when he's gotten his few, couple of shots over the past few seasons. He's not the guy. And Let me pull up his stats real quick, because you know, I'm not a hater of many people in this world, but Jordan Love is one of them, not by association, but by association. So, nearly 1,000 yards. Bless you. Only 1,083 yards. You know, through 5 games, 8 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. I'll move on. So I'm going to ride with the Packers. Anyway, it's a very low confident pick. But Jordan Love, 8 touchdowns, 6 picks. Russell Wilson, 12 touchdowns to only 4 picks. That is crazy to think Russell Wilson is 1-5 with those stats. I don't know. I haven't watched many Broncos games. So, you know, he's probably 12 touchdowns to 4 picks, 1,300 yards. I mean, to think he's on a 1-5 team, crazy. Anyway, Denver has the worst defense in the NFL in almost every category, and Green Bay has a top 10 passing defense to help combat that, you know, those Russell Wilson stats. I just think this is a good matchup for the Broncos. You know, Denver arguably is the worst team in the NFL. I don't think so. I just think they've been underperforming because they have what many people think is a scumbag coach who, you know, started off on the wrong foot with basically everybody with the words he said to whoever he said them to. He basically made everybody mad and gave a target on his back before the season even started. And, you know, now he sits at 1-5 through 6 weeks. It wouldn't shock me if the Broncos win this one. I want to choose the Broncos. I really, really do. Matter of fact, they were, you know, I chose them first. Then I went over some stats and I was like, you know, I'm going to ride with the Packers. Low confidence pick. I won't be watching this game, so don't bother with any questions. Courtney, you're riding with Russell Wilson, correct?
No.
No.
I didn't even have to look at any stats to know that I'm going with the Packers. I cannot stand this Broncos team. I cannot stand their coach. I cannot stand Russell Wilson. Everything about this Broncos team pisses me off. They just stink. That's it. And when I was talking about before we started this, talking about Jerry Jeudy and how there's at least like 5 receivers from his draft class, including Brandon Ayuk, who hasn't even been, correct me if I'm wrong, but hasn't even been the number 1 target for, and he has better stats than Jerry Jeudy. So you're like, what is going on here? And this guy is out here complaining. And I'm like, whatever. And
if you look at his quarterback doesn't have bad stats. Like, you can hate Russell Wilson all you want. I get he's a meme at this point. But, like, I mean, 1,300 yards, 12 touchdowns, 12 touchdowns, 4 picks through 6 weeks. That's not terrible.
I mean, I wish my quarterback was doing that, but he's not. So, you know.
Right. I mean, look, the Broncos team, they have no rushing attack. You know, they can't run the ball. Cameron Sutton's good. Jerry Jeudy's underperformed and just over-talked. And because of that, he's underperformed. Bit of a head case there. You know, his Packers team isn't perfect either. You know, A.J. Dillon's been their leading rusher. Aaron Jones is still questionable. You've had some banged up guys on the defense as well. I mean, Romeo Doubs, your leading receiver. Is he really a true receiver 1? Probably not. I mean, I agree with Dillon. Steve Smith, I mean, just totally torched Jeudy. And the fact that Jeudy went out there, did absolutely nothing after talking, you know, all his talk before game was hysterical to watch. So, now we have primetime football, and actually a good primetime spot. Like, this is a good primetime game. I'm, like, actually going to be excited for this one. No sarcasm. Courtney, why don't you get us started? Sunday Night Football, Dolphins and Eagles. I'm really intrigued to see your pick here because I truly think we're on opposite sides here.
I wouldn't be surprised if we were. I am going with the Dolphins. On this one, they had an extremely slow start against the Panthers. I was like, what is going on? I was checking the score.
I wasn't watching the game, but I remember seeing the score. You know, I think they were down at some point. I was like, whoa, like upset. And next thing you know, it's like, never mind.
They were down so bad, like scoring no points. And it was like looking, but then they ended up with 42 points at the end of the game. So you're like,
right. They ended up winning by like 20 points.
You're just like, geez.
Same.
It is no secret that I love the Jets this year. I am so big on the Jets, okay? And watching that Eagles-Jets game, I'm very proud of myself for picking the Jets. Take flight, okay? Take flight. I'm so on the Jets. Jalen Hurts, which I thought was very interesting, had 4 interceptions on the season prior to this Jets game. He almost tied that in one game against this Jets defense. I was eating it up. I was loving it. Don't get me wrong. I like Jalen Hurts. I really do. I really do like Jalen Hurts. However, I was eating it up. Loving it so much. Now, do I think he's going to play as bad against this Dolphins defense? Probably not. But I think the Dolphins can outscore the Eagles just because I think they've just been on fire. They've just been doing the things that they need to do. They came back and scored 42 points after. Now, granted, this was against the Panthers, who are the sole remaining team who have not won a game. Whatever. Thought that was good. I didn't think we were going to end up here. I really did not. But okay. But yeah, I'm going to go with the Dolphins. I just think that the Eagles have, up to this point, have not been incredibly impressive. Just like they're not over the top, blowing me out of the water. But they've been winning games, but I think the Dolphins are going to take this one. I'm really excited. This is my most exciting game of the week.
I hear you. And I understand those who are riding with the Dolphins. And that's an underdog pick. I don't know if you realize that, but they aren't favored to win this game. They're +2 currently, so it's close.
Because they're in Philly, right? Yeah.
Right. So, but I'm riding with the Eagles here, and I don't like it because I kind of will be rooting for the Dolphins because I don't, it's hard to root for the Eagles in my opinion. Their fan base is kind of corny. But with that said, I know the Dolphins are eye candy. I mean, you see the scores, you see the highlights, you see the stats. It's just like, how is this team not going to win the Super Bowl? But I would say, why don't we take a look at their opponents so far this year? So they're 5-1. The 5 teams they have beaten have been the New England Patriots. We said earlier they're probably the worst team in the NFL. The Denver Broncos. We also said earlier they're probably the worst team in the NFL. The New York Giants. We also said they're one of the worst teams in the NFL. And the Carolina Panthers. Probably the worst team in the NFL. They don't have a win. So those are their 5 wins. Once again, the Patriots, the Broncos, the Giants, and the Panthers. Probably, it's 4 teams probably in the bottom 5 of the league. So I understand.
I do not disagree with that.
And nobody's talking about this. I haven't seen any network, any national media, any YouTube. I haven't seen anyone talk about who have they played. I mean, that is the weakest schedule any team could have through 6 weeks. Now let's talk about the one game they lost. By the way, they lost by 28 points. The Buffalo Bills, one of the best teams in the league. I think this team's a fraud. I truly do. Don't get me wrong. The offense is incredible. But I think when this team plays any legit contender, I think they're going to lose. I just think, and it's been shown over the past few years, they don't win the important games. They don't win the big ones. They just don't. They can't. They don't pull through on those. And I think we'll see it again. I have picked the Dolphins, and, even before we did this, just, either just gambling or just, who do I think will win? I've always, I picked the Dolphins in a lot of big time games. It's almost always bit me in my ass. Like, I don't know what it is about the Dolphins in big time games. They just don't get it done. Now, you can look at the Eagles. They also, through 6 weeks, haven't played great teams, but I would argue better teams. They beat the Vikings. They beat the Bucks. They beat the Commanders and the Rams, and then, lost to the Jets. I would still say those teams are better than what the Dolphins have played. Now, I think this Dolphins team's more talented. I think they're more fun to watch. But I just think the Eagles get this done against a top, I think they're a tough team. I don't want to root for the Eagles, but I will in this case because I'm picking them. The Eagles have the best rush defense in the NFL, and the Miami Dolphins don't have their starting running back. The Eagles obviously will send send blitzers. They'll send the heat like they always do, and they will force it to be an ugly primetime game. Now, with all that said, if the Dolphins win and Courtnie is right, I will do a totally, reevaluation on this team moving forward. And the whole thing I just said about them, not winning the big ones and not, being the contenders, I will reevaluate that moving forward. But I have to see it here. I have to see it in Philadelphia, primetime game. I wish this game was in December, not right now. I wish this was like December or January because I would put the entire house on the Eagles. I just had when it hits like November, December, and Dolphins start playing away, they start playing some colder games and some better teams. I just feel like they never get the job done.
I
don't know.
I will cut in and just remind you that within the past couple of years, the Steelers were missing the playoffs, not because the Dolphins won their game. So this is another reason why I'm going to go with the Dolphins. Not that the Steelers are good and that they should have just won their way in to begin with. However, when the fate of the Steelers going to the playoffs is in the Dolphins' hands, the Dolphins are probably going to ruin that for them. That's all I'm going to say. But I also like the Dolphins coach.
He's hysterical. Anyways, look, Justin, you look, and once again, I say, look at the stats. Tua, 14 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, nearly 2,000 yards through 6 weeks. Jalen Hurts, 7 touchdowns to 7 picks. Tyreek Hill almost had 1,000 yards and 50 receptions through 6 weeks. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Jalen Hurts had 7 picks. Let me remind you.
3 came last week.
Yeah.
It should be a fun game. I'm excited, but I'm truly confident in the Eagles getting it done. So we'll see who comes out in this one.
If that happened, but
right.
I just like.
Well, you need this one. I'm 61-32. You're 55-38. You could use this one to claw back.
Yeah, I could.
All right. Another primetime game, which I'm just, as the Vikings fan in me, is just so excited to watch my Minnesota Vikings get curb stomped by the best team in the league, the 49ers. And yes, I still think they're the best team in the league after the loss. Nobody goes undefeated. I just didn't think that was going to be the game, even though I kind of did, because I was like telling you, I'm like, oh, I'm leaning towards the Jets. I love your pick. And for some reason, I didn't tail with you, but that was on me. I'll just get it started. The 49ers are currently 6.5-point favorites over the Vikings for Monday Night Football. Yeah, I mean, no Justin Jefferson, although with Justin Jefferson, they probably still don't win. This 49ers offense will probably put up 28+ against the Vikings defense, 30+. This Vikings defense, it's bad, man. It's real bad. And I don't even remember the last time the Vikings have beat the 49ers, to be honest. I should have looked that up. I just think this Vikings team, they're always playing catch-up. They're always playing catch-up for some reason. They just always are. And I think this will be another game where they have to do that. And I just don't think they can against this well-coached and well-schemed 49ers team. I will say, if it gets over 7, 7.5, 8, whatever, I would consider that. The Vikings don't lose and don't win more than 1 possession games. I think that's widely established, whether you're a Vikings fan or not. Like, if it's over 7, you got to take that line either way when it's the Vikings, because they don't lose big. Although, if there is ever a chance where they do, it could be this week. Even as a Vikings fan, I don't see it. I don't see it happening here without Justin Jefferson. Like, you give me Justin Jefferson, I think there's a chance. There's a possibility he goes for 200 yards and, 9 receptions and a touchdown and opens up everybody else. But I don't see it here. I will say, it's only Wednesday, so we have no idea what the injuries are going to look like outside of that, because, the 49ers, you have Trent Williams, you have Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, Dre Greenlaw. Like, those are all probably top 10 players on that team. They probably don't need to play, and they probably shouldn't. 49ers by $1 billion, high confidence pick. Courtnie, what do you got?
I'm also going to go with the 49ers. The Vikings defense is so bad. So it's just like, it's hard to pick them when is against this team that has so many offensive weapons. However, even though they do have those two key guys going to be out, they still have George Kittle, right? Yeah, he didn't get hurt. And they also Brandon Ayuk, which I would just like to put back out there. He has better stats than Jerry Jeudy, and he was taken after him in the draft anyway. Anything to just one more dig at the Broncos. But yeah, like Dylan said, Ayuk legacy game incoming. I think it's going to be tough.
Possible.
I think it's tough. Going to be tough to cover him. Like you said, I think Justin Jefferson not being in this game is huge because this is going to be if the Vikings have any chance of winning this, it's got obviously going to be offensive and scoring points.
Right.
So it's just like they don't have Justin, the best wide receiver in the league. And so it's like all sides.
And I want to quickly say this. I quickly want to say this. So even as a Vikings fan, like, you know, I don't want Kirk Cousins on the team next year, even though he's extremely, extremely disrespected, and people just hate on him because he's a meme and because he's a religious, never had one off-field issue in his life, but for some reason gets more hate than the players who do have terrible lives off the field. So that's why I respect Kirk Cousins, even though I don't want him to be on the team next year because I want to draft. I want the Vikings to move on from him and get a new guy for just Jefferson. Kirk Cousins has 1,700 yards, 14 touchdowns to only 4 picks. Like, dude, that's insane. Brock Purdy, 1,400 yards, 10 touchdowns to only 1 pick. Look, Cousins is ridiculous, man. He is the ultimate stat stuffer. Like, Cousins,
I know that national media has been kind of starting to ask the questions about Brock Purdy after last week, which I think is totally valid because is Brock Purdy an elite quarterback that everybody's saying he is? Look at his weapons. I mean, look at the rest of that offense. Like,
I agree to disagree. I think it's also disrespectful to question him after one bad performance. I mean, he has 10 touchdowns to 1 pick. You can have all the talent in the world and still throw picks. Like,
I agree. I'm not saying that he's not elite, but what I am saying is it's real hard to be like bad in that lineup. Like, you have so many weapons. But
I agree, but see, like, to go back and forth, he also is cheap. He's on like $1 million contract.
Yeah.
They can't go pay someone like possibly Kirk Cousins because they got to pay all their weapons. So it's like a give and a take. But I don't know. I think, questioning him already is ridiculous when I think they're the Super Bowl favorite as of now. And without Purdy, they aren't. But I digress. Hey, man, whoever wants Kirk Cousins, come trade for him. I know he said he's not going to waive his trade clause this year, which is crazy. But 14 touchdowns to 4 picks. Like, it's looking enticing for some other teams that might need a quarterback. Jets. But not if they keep getting wins. Did you imagine Garrett Wilson and Kirk Cousins?
The Jets don't need a quarterback because Aaron Rodgers is coming back after the bye week.
I hope.
Speaking, I would just like to say this, since we are nearing the end of this, since we just covered our last game. I am so upset that it's the Jets bye week. I don't get to watch the Jets this week. I freaking love the Jets. God, they were so good against the Eagles, their defense anyway. I'm sorry, Zach Wilson is still getting all this hate. He's getting the job done, and when he needs to, I'm not going to say he's going to be out here and he's great, but it's just still pissing me off. Like, all of these people saying Zach Wilson sucks, Zach Wilson sucks, Zach Wilson sucks. And it's just like, I thought I was also impressed with the Jets defense because they had new corners and that they had pulled up because Sauce Gardner and like all them people were out injured, and they still came out and just embarrassed this. I love the Jets coach. They played a gauntlet. He said they played a gauntlet of quarterbacks up to this point. I've embarrassed all of them. Hell yeah, you did. I am so down with. I wish the Jets were in the NFC because I just feel horrible rooting this hard for the Jets. Oh my gosh. See, there's Dylan. No more Steelers jerseys in the background, Courtney. They're right here. Hold on. Here's my jerseys. Right. Oh, you can't see. They're still hanging right there. I'm just sitting in front of the window now, Dylan. Better lighting. But oh god, I think I'm such a big advocate of person like you cannot like more than one team, especially in like you're saying like AFC, NFC. So like yours is like more, I guess, like acceptable, I guess, because it's like one AFC, one NFC.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, am I becoming a Jets fan? I'm signing up for the worst franchise possible to be a fan of. They have the worst luck ever. I think it's because they have Aaron Rodgers, and I love Aaron Rodgers. I'm a stan. I don't care what the man
Yeah, me
does.
too.
I'm
But
an Aaron
look, you
Rodgers
don't want to
stan.
argue with me being a fan of two teams. Both of my teams have never won a Super Bowl. The Vikings have never won a Super Bowl, and the Bengals have never won a Super Bowl. In my lifetime, I've seen some playoff games. I even saw a Super Bowl with the Bengals. They lost. Before Burrow, I saw 5 straight playoff losses with Andy Dalton, and the Vikings, they had the Minneapolis Miracle with Diggs, and who's the short little quarterback? Who is that? Who is that guy? Brain fart. Oh wow, who's the guy that filled in that year? It's killer. Oh, wait, what year was the Minneapolis Miracle? Was that 20? Oh, who is the quarterback? Now I gotta look it up because I can't.
While you do that, Dylan said Courtney about to have her heart broken by 2 different AFC teams this season. That's brutal. Okay, I'm not a Jets fan, but I'm starting to think I am.
Case
But I'm
Keenum. Duh.
Yeah, I'm so in on this team. I like their coach. I think he's hilarious. I loved him when he said we're keeping receipts. I thought it was hilarious because I'm like, the Jets suck. Like
The Jets are similar to the Lions, where they got a fiery head coach. Is very masculine and very cutthroat, but also like a player's guy, sort of. And
but I
just
love Garrett Wilson. Like I love Garrett Wilson. I love Sauce Gardner. So it's just like it's so hard to not root for these people. And like I said,
I could imagine what Garrett Wilson would be putting up right now with the season with Rodgers.
Oh God, I cannot wait to see Aaron Rodgers play more than 3 snaps in a Jets uniform. And that's messed up maybe to say. I'm not trying to joke about it, but the man is walking and throwing footballs. Oh.
And
God.
people have like the audacity to be like, "Oh, you shouldn't be doing that." And Rodgers' response is like, "What the hell do you know about me and my body?" Like, I love his takes. It's so hilarious. Like everyone wants to become a doctor on like Twitter and like
I'm not here
and
to
just like
make
national media. It's hilarious.
I'm not here to make a statement about his views on his vaccines, whatever. It's his choice. But I did see a tweet that said Travis Kelce, since he's become the spokesperson for Pfizer, he's won 2 Super Bowls, dating Taylor Swift, and like, what has Aaron Rodgers done? Aaron Rodgers doesn't need to prove himself at this point. Like, are we serious?
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna be woke, you're gonna be woke. But
I just like I'm just such a stan of Aaron Rodgers, and I know a lot of people think he's a douchebag or whatever, but I love him.
I love it. Ever since he started doing the McAfee show, and he's just him. He doesn't give a shit. Like, if you have free time today and you're watching this, no matter if you're watching it live or after, which I don't know why you're watching it. We already gave all our picks, but go watch the Aaron Rodgers Joe Rogan podcast. It was incredible. And you might be like, Drew, you are such a freaking masculine derp.
You're such a bigot.
But I love the Joe Rogan podcast, and I like Aaron Rodgers, and that podcast was incredible. Like Rodgers explained some like super motivating kind of like down bad moments in his career even before the NFL. And like his stories were just like, how do you not get behind this dude? Like he had a story with his professor. I'm not gonna go through because it'll take forever, but it was great. Like his professor.
I know,
was, like,
I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about because I watched.
Like you'll never make it to the league. Blah 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 blah.
Not to get myself canceled, but I watched that episode.
I like Joe Rogan, so you should cancel me.
No, Dr. Rogan. No, I'm like I said, I'm upset the Jets aren't playing this week. Oh, jeez. I gotta stop it. I think because I'm just so disappointed. I have not really known a ton of disappointment as a Steelers fan. Like, up to this point, like, I mean, yeah, like we haven't gotten like we won one Super Bowl in my lifetime, but I haven't had a ton of like because Steelers are always, they're
Steelers
always
like we got the best fan base. We got like 10 rings, even though they're all from like the freaking 40s.
okay. Let's relax. I'm just saying I haven't known a ton
I
of
swear we had the greatest defense back in 1965. Like these guys were dudes. It's like get over yourself, man. Steelers fans are hilarious.
Okay, anyway, all I'm saying is I haven't had a ton of disappointment because the Steelers are always going to have up to this point I've always had a winning season. Now it's
You have another 500 season, just like last year, next year.
if the Steel I'm not complacent with the 9-8 seasons. Like, no, that fucking sucks. I don't want to continue to do that. But anyway, now this team an offense is so freaking disappointing. I'm like, and this Jets.
Are you complaining because you'll never watch a tanking season?
No, I'm complaining. I think
that sounds like what you're complaining is that your team will never tank. Where I can talk to you about, go back to DCTV 2-3 years ago before the Joe Burrow draft, and I live stream every second of every minute of every millisecond of every game that season. And boy, were those some interesting 4.5 hour streams where I'm doing play-by-play on the worst team in the National Football League. And you go tell me how fun that looked.
Okay, I'm not complaining that we've never had a tanking season. I think this is such a disappointing offense this season that I don't really know a ton of disappointment. It's leading me to look elsewhere. And the Jets are just so exciting this season. And I need to stop. I need to just go on a cleanse, go do some mushroom therapy like Aaron Rodgers does, just get my brain rewired and back to back to the homeland, because I'm a ride or die Steelers fan till I die. Like that's just how it's going to be. But I just can't help but love this Jets team. And now I'm starting to feel guilty about it. Now, the more I keep saying it. So I'm just going to shut my ass up right now.
To add on to Dylan's point, I got a quick funny story. So he's talking about my great grandpa. He's telling me legendary tales of the steel curtain. Listen to the story. So I'm on vacation in Florida a couple years back, and we go to this pizza place. We walk in, and it's a Steelers bar in this island on Florida. It's like, all
Don't
Steelers.
There's a Steelers bar in Florida.
Huh? Yeah.
There's a Steelers bar in Cincinnati too.
Yeah. So yeah, we're in Florida, and we like randomly just go to this like pizza bar, and it ended up being like all Steelers inside, like memorabilia from like the 1700s. Like it was ridiculous. But the funny thing is, it's like, it's all like older players, some of the recent players like Big Ben, stuff like that. The last Super Bowl they had. And we were like talking to the waitress, like, oh yeah, we're from Cincinnati, we're Bengals fans, just kind of laughing about it. They probably spit in our pizza, but we end up like because a lot of the memorabilia was really old, and we're like, yeah, and she was like, yeah, I'm just a daughter, but we've this restaurant's been in our family for like 3 generations. She brings out like her dad or her grandpa. This dude's like 90 years old. He starts, the Steelers back in my day, like we had the meanest defense. Dude, it was so funny just because Dylan said that. And it's just relatable from what we're talking about right now. But it was just so funny. It was like, because she was like, I witnessed like one Super Bowl, and then brings out like her old grandpa, whatever, back out there, flipping the pizzas in the air. He comes out, Joe all over. I'm like, the Steelers. It was just funny. It was real.
All I'm saying is, I could have been way more insufferable so far this season. I think I've been pretty good on this stream about.
Hey, look, the Bengals are bottom of the bottom of the division. I'm pretty sure right now, right? Like, I'm pretty sure the Steelers are above the Bengals. So
yeah, we were first until the Ravens won this week.
So you guys are Bengals fans. I can't talk, but I haven't been talking like the Bengals are great. Matter of fact, I didn't have a Bengals pick this week because they're on bye week. So forgot about that.
Jets and Bengals.
Yeah, because the Bengals play next week. Listen to the next month for the Bengals. Next week, 49ers and San Fran. Week after that, Bills at home. Week after that, day before my birthday, Texans here. Not bad. And then the week after that, you got Ravens and Steelers. So in the next 5 weeks, you have 49ers, Bills, Ravens, and Steelers. That's tough. But to come back off a bye and have 49ers and Bills, I don't know. We'll see. It's going to be tough.
We gotta. I think if anyone's still watching this, which I don't know why you would be, because we're annoying, but we are thinking about streaming the Steelers Bengals game, and just like his old times, except I'm gonna be here this time, and I'm gonna be probably really pissed off. So, if you don't want to see a calm version of me, actually, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I can get on.
Are we wearing jerseys? Are you wearing like? We should get a background where half of my screen's black and orange, and then your side of the screen's was it black and yellow? Wiz Khalifa? Yeah, we can do that.
Oh, Wiz Khalifa, shut the
Wiz Khalifa, the best rapper alive.
Black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow.
Yeah, great song. I mean, really used was very creative on that.
Okay,
hey, shout out
but
to Dylan.
it was
Shout out to Dylan. Give me a follow on the gram.
It was such a good song that Lil Wayne had to copy and do it green and yellow for the Packers. Okay, so you shut the hell up.
Both are just annoying franchises. What's the difference? Insufferable fans. Oh, and for those who don't know, my UFC picks last week, if you followed them, I did like a quick end of the stream UFC picks. I think I hit 3 out of the 5. So, and one of them was an underdog pick, so it wasn't supposed to hit anyway. But yeah, shout out to people that tell me the UFC picks. Quickly this week, I know this is NFL. Huge fight weekend, probably the biggest fight of the year. Volkanovski stepping in, Kamaru Usman stepping in, both on short notice, 10 days notice, or give or take. I like Volk for the upset against Islam. I'm also a big Volk fan, so a little bit biased there. And I think Kamaru Usman filling in on short notice, I think he gets smashed into pieces. Couple other picks I like, but if you want those, follow me on Instagram or Twitter. Shoot me a DM, and I'll hit you up with those. Shout out to Dylan following us on our social media, which if you are watching this live or post-production, make sure to give us a follow on all our socials, as we are trying to find ourselves on Instagram and like start posting more clips, and she's trying to post more clips on TikTok. So comedy, if you like comedy and sports and picks, you'll just see clips there. So yeah, Courtnie has some posts on her TikTok that are outside of DCTV. You can give a follow. But definitely go follow us on our Twitter, because we like to rage on Twitter. So it's a good
I
time.
was raging so hard for the 49ers Browns. Like, I think I sent I fired off like 25 tweets. I was so I'm gonna shut up now. We need to stop talking.
Hey, but this is because it's athletes outside of the U.S., my guy. Like, come on. That's the thing with the NFL. It's so U.S. dominated. Most of the names are easy. Yeah, that was just funny to see. I agree with you though. But anyways, anything else, Courtnie? Do you have anything else on this? I am 61-32. She is 55-38. So we're both doing very well. One's doing better than the other. Last week she said she was gonna inch a little closer. She inched a little farther.
That is, I'm not by one. We would have been actually no, that doesn't add up. The math did not math there. Never mind.
Wasn't it only one though? Did we do the math wrong?
Yeah, no, but because you're like
one more farther away. Gotcha.
Yeah, because you're adding 10 to yours, and I'm only at yeah. That's okay. Redemption week this week.
Redemption week. I'm looking for another 10-5 week or better. Once again, to wrap it up, my high confidence pick. I mean, not many this week.
This week's
sheesh. Browns a medium/high pick. Lions a medium confidence pick. Bills high confidence pick. Chiefs medium confidence. 49ers high confidence pick. So my only high confidence pick is fading my own team. So I gotta love that for a week here. This is definitely one of my most coin flip weeks personally. But with that said, hopefully we shock the world here.
Don't think the 49ers are gonna lose 2 weeks in a row. but that's just me.
Hey, if the 49ers lose, let's go Vikes. We're keeping Cousins, and we might as well. If Cousins gets the job done without Jay Jettas, give him another 3 years. Give him another 3 years. Now I'm playing, but yeah, if that happens, shoot, if that happens, I might hop on the live stream and go crazy. I don't know, probably not though. Yeah, I'm done. We've been live for almost 2 hours, so give the stream a like. Just hit the subscribe button. You know, all the good stuff. Follow the socials. And tail some of our bets. And if you do, tag us on the socials of your winning bets or your winning picks.
If you're smart, you'd tail my picks because I had a couple good ones last week. But
right, I mean, you could have made some money last week, but only like 9 of them, not all of them. So, Cousins lifetime contract. Yeah, I don't know about that. If it were to be a lifetime contract, it'd have to be all guaranteed money because that's what Cousins does. But yeah, I need to stop procrastinating. But do you have anything else?
No.
All right, y'all. Yeah, follow the socials. We'll have more information on there if we do more streams because we might do more streams outside of this, but we'll let you know. So have a good week. Smile. Yeah, and have a good week. Let's win some money.